No, my dad used to play drums.
Right.
And I think there was when I was kids, when we were kids, there's my believing of the story is that there was a red little kit turned up, and it was bought off a neighbour or something like that, which was a bass drum, tom, and a snare and a hi hat. That was it. But I think it was an excuse for me dad to have a drum kit. It was kind of it was for me. There was no one teaching drums, so there was no way I could have lessons or anything like that. And I used to just smash around with it, and then that sort of got done up a little bit and then sold. Another kit turned up. It was the same thing. I wasn't learning. So parents sold that, and then they got us a little bass. There's always been music in the house. And my parents have always encouraged us to do whatever we wanted to do, really.
Yeah.
And then because of the nature of them loving music, I think they kind of wanted us to pick something up. We had a K guitar, and all this stuff went by the wayside. And then a mate of mine at school used to go around his grandma's at lunchtime, and he had the drum kit there. He didn't even have it his own, but it was opposite school, so it sort of pissed off over there. And he could play a bit, and I just got into it, started picking it up. So I guess that sort of enthused it again, really. And they always said, my parents, that they would get me another one if I learned. But I started to sort of take ownership of a bit of practice, and I had a practice pad and a bass drum skin and a hi-hat, and I used to sit on my bed and just work it out like that. But got a job, a Saturday job, and I saved up a bit of money, and they gave me a bit of money, and managed to get this drum kit from the local music shop. And that was it, really. Just putting headphones. And also the 80s, we're talking about the 80s here.
Yeah.
What I used to just do when we talk about the stereo, I used to do the same thing. My brother used to watch movies all the time. He was like the first kid that I knew had a video. Proper concrete 80s video. Yeah. But he was into all these big blockbusters, all these Terminator movies and all that. But I used to just practice in my room, stick the headphones on and play along to whatever, you know. I used to save all my dinner money, and there's a little record shop in town called What Records, and I used to have the 80s massive 12 inches, wasn't it? Just extend it by
a maxi single.
I used to just go and buy a record every day from the record shop. Yeah. And just take it. I didn't even know what it was half the time. Yeah. You know, there were like 20p, 30p in the record in the basket as you walked to the shop. And that was how I started building the collection. But that was why drums. My dad was a massive Who fan. Yeah. And a friend of the family, the first records I had really, apart from the Jungle Book, was a bunch of Kinks albums. That's the family gave me. So again, just all the physical and like that. But it was only later when I started really trying to finding my own thing that but for me, there was only me and my mate. It's at school we had the drum kit. There was only two of us in town that I knew played drums. So I used to cycle past the music shop on the way to school, and which was always my technique, even when I moved to London. But just answer the adverts for Drummer Wanted, even though I was at school. Yeah. All these bands were looking for drummers, so I ended up being in a couple of bands even at school.
Because it isn't that. For parents to be like, yeah, come, let's get you a drum kit. It's like, it's not all parents saying that, is it? Because, it can be quite loud. And so to have that, mate, is almost was a unique thing.
Yeah.
My mum, I had a drum kit for a year off a friend, and I had that in my third year of uni. I had a room about this size at uni, which you wouldn't believe. I was really lucky. And I had it set up in there, and I fucking loved it. And when I come back to Essex, I had nowhere for it, I had just nowhere to play it or whatever. So that's where it sort of ended. I obviously didn't have the affinity or the drive to want to push past that. But yeah, so to have that, I think it is sometimes harder for drummers to get that opportunity to practice, isn't it?
I mean, this kit I bought, which is I just wanted the black drum kit. That's all I wanted. I thought that'd be cool. Get a black drum kit. Seemed like the coolest thing. But I didn't know anything about makes or which one to have as such. And what's it called? It was called Track or something like that. Right. And it had like white heads on it. So eventually they got trashed and we had to replace them. And then he took like the first tom off, and it was like compressed cardboard, and then the actual shell of the drum, and then the other tom was like a really badly cut wood of whatever description. It was basically like a prototype kit. That's why it's like 200 quid. It's like the beginning of what now you get starter kits everywhere. But it did me alright for a while. It did me alright.
Again, I think there's a lot to be said for not going out and buying the best of things when you're venturing into something new. People a lot of the time, I've got to get the best. It's like you might pick that up and put it down next week. What's the point in
DIY? Well, this is really, it goes on that whole thing of just like I said with the Spitfire thing. It was just learning my apprenticeship. Really, I didn't really know what to do. What was the do? No, any rudiments to drum in. And just listen to a record and play along. That was my education.
And that is fun from what I experienced in doing that and playing.
Well, I think one of the biggest things I got, having learned X amount and able to sort of learn enough to get in a band and play with like-minded people was feel really. Because records, that's where you're going to get it. You're playing a Motown record, or you're playing a hip hop record, or a punk rock record or something. Because they've all got the same beat could be throughout three of them. It's just how you apply that, So I think that's one of the things. And also, 80s everything was quite sequenced. Everything was metronomic. And for me, I think I've learned quite a lot. I'm quite good with clicks.
So, any of the next ones on this list, anything that you might have had on your headphones when you was driving along?
Well, well, Quiet Life, yes, definitely. We'll come to choice number 4 in a minute, but choice number 3 is a prime example, really.
Okay.
Which is Simple Minds and Love Song. Sons and Fascination album was a great record, but the album I loved that was that record. Just even now, again, we talk about sort of having it in the DJ bag. It's a feel good record. Recently done a little bit of work for Simple Minds. And,
really?
Well, not in playing sense, in the production side for a company that I do some work for, a management company. And it's been nice being on the other side of the fence when they were Mal Gaynor was quite a big influence. Early on when I was playing that hard hitting sort of straight down the line stuff. I don't even think it is Mal Gaynor actually, but all just being there and they don't know that, but for me I've got that sort of little smile that actually I used to listen to this. It's quite funny how I've ended up doing a bit of backline sort of stuff. But yes, Love Song is just a brilliant stadium kind of feel good track, And again, it's got that 16th note thing, which is the 80s drums, which when learning to play is really difficult to do. Just keeping that going, and I think I kind of sort of hooked into that quite early on. My favourite album actually is Real to Cacophony. Real to Real Cacophony. I bought that, and that fascinated me, that record, because it was from the What Records. Bought it in the bargain basement. Just a blue cover. And I didn't really know who this band Simple Minds were until later, even though I had it in the collection for quite a long time. So no one put, and it's just to think that's a brilliant cover. I don't really know anything about this band, but it's a brilliant cover. For me, it never gets played, that record. Not only in my house it does, but no one ever talks about it. I just think and the playing on that record is really, really, it's quite there's a lot of Kraftwerk influence in it. There's a lot of German krautrock kind of thing, and I think that's what I like.
Well, you say Love Song was a stadium-sized song, and that was obviously the shape of things to come, wasn't it? They went on to be a ridiculously big stadium-filling band for a long, long time, and I guess they still are.
They've gone full circle again now. They're doing it again, aren't they? Really? But that live album, jumping again forward, but they brought a live album out, live in Rotterdam or something. I think it might have been. But that was when we were talking about vinyl. That was as a vinyl package. That was incredible. Just a whole program in the middle programs were big for bands in the 80s, weren't they? But they did this whole program of the event, you know, big stadium shots and aerial shots of Mel Gaynor playing the drums. And, you know, that's what it's like, isn't it?
They didn't write "Don't You Forget About Me," did they?
I don't know.
No. They're kind of, I guess they're the Simple Minds track that most people will probably be familiar with. I'm sure I'm right, but I believe it was written specifically for Breakfast Club.
Ah.
And
I think you're right.
And it was offered to Duran, and they said no.
Right.
And it got past the Simple Minds.
Because they were also seen quite cool again, like those bands for a while, weren't they? Simple Minds.
Yeah.
But you know, when you listen to like Military Ruth and Coffee or something like that, Sons of Fascination, there's some brilliant
stuff.
Musician-wise as well. Not like, you know, you have to be a great musician.
Yeah.
But the production's fabulous. It's brilliant.
It's easy to get pulled into just seeing the "Don't You Forget About Me" live and kicking. So you go back and it gets a lot darker.
Stuff. When they were just a small band, again, kind of, I guess, a bit of a new wave.
Some cold sounding records. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
really brilliant.
So that was, you know, I should say that was probably one of the Simple Minds era. I mean, there was I went through a kind of Style Council stage a little bit when we sort of moved on from the specials, but I liked the Jam, but I think the Style Council were more of my time. And I think maybe some of the soul influence coming in from my parents was in those records.
Did you think that Style Council were consistent? Because I don't. I think they've got some incredible records, Style Council, but I just didn't think it was as consistent as the Jam.
Well, Beat Surrender is the Jams, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I bought that 7-inch, and you know, that was almost like it was as if it was one of Paul Weller's demos of the Jam. I put some horns on it, and you know, get a nice Hammond, and that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
But I guess you're right in many ways. It did that ridiculous thing with. I just couldn't work it out. It was like a live, no, not live. It was a video for every. I suppose it was the MTV era. It was a video for the album, but they did a video for every song and they changed outfit. Did you ever see that?
No.
So there's Sheila E at the piano, and is it Why I Went Nothing? Why I Went. I don't know the track. But they did this. It's just they changed outfits. So say they're all in blue and pink. The next outfit, but they're all in white, and they did this for the whole. It's just like losing a little bit of grip on.
I think the Style
maybe
Council.
That's the end when he said, "I'm going solo." See you later, guys.
That tail end of the Style Council. I think there was. I presume he got right into his Italian fashion and style and stuff. He was looking sharp. But I think. Walls Come Tumbling Down is a cracker, and I think Mick Talbot stuff on that. He sounds pure Motown.
Well, Long Hot Summer is a beautiful song.
Yeah,
if you want a bit of romance.
Yeah. Valentine's yesterday. Your best thing that would have gone down.
He wouldn't have done, mate, because I spent it with you. You popping that on.
Anyway, so there we are. That's a drumming one for you.
Okay, so where are we at? How many you got left on this list?
I've got two to talk about. If you want to hear it,
man, for sure.
Well, I had to do this. I had to. My next artist. I had to get her in there somewhere. I've got a bunch of female artists which I've just always sort of been amazing, but she's been talked about a million times, but Kate Bush has just got to be
totally.
really.
Yeah.
I mean,